What's up, it's Jimfro, and you know what? It's about that time that I figured out if 9.1.5 is worth coming back to. All right, let's knock out the big stuff first. The release dates. 9.1.5 releases on November 2nd for the US. That's 18 weeks or 4 months from 9.1. Do a little funky math. You'll start to figure out that we probably got another 4 or 5 months to go before we get new content for 9.2. All right, let's go into the first big change, and that is hashtag pull the ripcord has been pulled. Boom, it is over. We succeeded. Everyone give yourselves a round of applause. This is time to celebrate. Once any character hits 80 renowned, you'll be able to freely switch your covenants. Feels so good. This is fantastic. Next, conduit energy is removed. This is a big 10 out of 10. Allowing us to swap conduits with a tome would also be nice, but I don't think that's there yet. Next, the AoE cap is basically removed. But from what I'm hearing is that this will have little effect on anyone outside of farming lower level content for transmog and stuff like that. It's still good to see, but it's not really anything special. This is a 5 out of 10. Next, we have something that has been on my list for a long time. We have Legion Timewalking coming December 7th to December 18th. This is a 1 million out of 10 yet again. We're getting 6 dungeons back. This is Blackrook Hold. We're getting Eye of Azshara, Darkheart Thicket, Vault of the Wardens, Noltharian's Lair, and Court of the Stars. Everyone, can you hear? Can you hear? Illusion. This is coming with regular time walking difficulty, but it's also going to be adding Mythic Plus keystones. Time walking, Mythic Plus, and Legion, best dungeons ever, best Mythic Plus ever. This is going to be insane. The Legion M Plus is going to be giving current eye level loot, upgradable with Valor points, and contributes to the Great Vault. Although they have clarified that the Legion loot won't be in the vault itself, but who gives a shit? This is awesome. The Legion Mythic Keystones are going to be coming with a new affix, the Infernal affix, on Keystones 10 or higher. So what the Infernal affix is that there's going to be these Infernal beacons that can be found near some bosses. Activating a beacon or engaging a nearby boss will trigger a Legion invasion. Kinda sounds like Reaping. Kinda loved it. Can't wait to see what they're gonna be doing with this. Next, let's talk about something that no one really wanted, right? Mage Towers. What? They're bringing back the fucking Mage Tower. This is insane. The Mage Tower is coming back for the Legion Timewalking, which is so sick. The original 7 challenges are going to be based on spec again, the same as we had before. Beating a Mage Tower challenge gets you a Legion-themed transmog set, so it's like a recolor of some set that they've already had in Legion in the past, I think. Also, Guardian Druids get a special werebear for beating their challenge. Strict limitations on borrowed power, which means that there's no Covenant abilities, no Soulbinds, no Shadowlands legendaries, none of that. If they tune the difficulty correctly, this could be a huge win. Players who complete all 7 challenges get an achievement and a unique mount. All good stuff. All right, let's talk about some of the player performance related stuff. A bunch of relatively small class changes have gone through, so just check your usual class resources for what actually matters to you. Some of the changes are that you'll basically be getting your Shards of Domination, Soul Cinders, Soul Ash, and a bunch of Korthia relics much faster than before. Because of this, legendaries will actually be farmable now. And if you regret your legendary choice, you can now give your legendary back to the Rune Carver in return for the Soul Ash and Soul Cinders that were used to create it. But not the original crafting items or missives, you'll still have to purchase those. There's a new item that makes interacting with the Demonic Gateway much easier. You now have an item that you can put on your keybind, you click the keybind, and you're gonna go zooming through the gateway that you're closest to. Rest in peace to the focus macro from hell. Nobody liked it. Super good change, Blizzard. There's all kinds of new items and buffs to increase relic drops in Korthia for mains and alts, which is good for the people that like to do Korthia. Not me. There were 3 Mythic Plus affix nerfs that we should talk about. Bolstering has a 20-second duration now instead of being permanent. Necrotic Wounds has a shorter duration, so it's a much easier to reset. And the damage bonus from Raging got nerfed. All good stuff for the Mythic Plus bros. All right, let's move on to the alt-friendly quality of life stuff. Right here we have big 10 out of 10 stuff. Alts can now skip the Maw intro. If you've reached 80 Renown on your main character, any alt can freely swap Covenants. At 80 Renown, you'll also be able to boost any Covenant to 40 Renowned on any character. There's also an item that can be purchased to transfer anima from one character to another and from one Covenant to another Covenant. You can also purchase a loot chest with Valor or Conquest that contains a piece of 210 PvE gear or 220 PvP gear that can be transferred to an alt to help them gear up quicker. And to add on to all of that, the dungeon quests for unlocking Kul Tiran humans, Mechagnomes, and Dark Iron Dwarves are no longer required. After accepting the dungeon quest, just speak to the dude again and then you can choose to skip the quest. Now moving on a little bit from the alt stuff, there's also some new fast travel options from Venari's Refuge in the Maw. Most notably, one that'll get you to the raid entrance much quicker. And there's a new item called the Anima Diverter from Korthia, where you can deposit your anima from anywhere, which means you don't have to be at your sanctum. There's also been some massive group finder quality of life stuff. All of these are a giant 10 out of 10. An authenticator is now required in order to post custom text in the group finder. So this means that you can still make generic group finder posts, but if you don't use an authenticator, you can't put in any custom text like willing to sell plus 15 or whatever. See ya later, shitty group finder ads. When it comes to looking for a group, you can now search for keystone levels within a range by typing stuff like 5 to 9. So you'll find groups in that range, which makes it a lot easier rather than having to search for 5 and then 6 and then 7 and then, you know, you get it. Group creators can now set a minimum M+ score or PvP rating in the group finder. If this works anything like it does for eye level, the listing won't even show up for people who don't meet the requirements. About time. PvP rating finally is displayed in the rated PvP finder, the same way that the M+ score does for the M+ finder. Again, it's about freaking time. And probably the greatest change out of all the group finder changes is that you can browse other groups while you have your own group listed. This is amazing. But we're moving on to PvP stuff. Blizzard's definitely going in the right direction with PvP, but I think there's still a long way to go here, so these changes are a 6 out of 10. I don't even know why I'm rating these, like, make your own rating up. PvP gear with lower eye levels are getting a pretty hefty bump to help ease the gear gap for new characters looking to get into PvP. Hopefully you'll no longer get one shot for 6 weeks straight while grinding your way to a higher eye level. Hopefully. They're also adding a bunch of PvP eye level ranks between the ones that already exist. So for instance, instead of going from 1800 all the way up to 2100 before you're eligible for upgrades, you'd now be able to go from 1800 to 1950, making it a much smoother experience. There's also a few PvP class changes, so check your usual class resources to see if any of them matter to you. All right, let's talk about content stuff, and because I've rated all of them so far, this one is a 5 out of 10. Some old Legion raid bosses got nerfed, super cool. BFA raids and dungeons will now have legacy loot rules, super cool. Island expeditions in BFA can now be solo queued, making it much easier to farm the transmogs and mounts. This one is actually super cool. Cosmetic stuff is an 8 out of 10 because who doesn't want that drip, you know? You'll now be able to share your full transmog set in chat or online with the link from the dressing room. There's new character customization options for High Mountain Taurens, Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn, and Void Elves. The Lightforged Draenei Paladins now have a unique class mount, the Lightforged Runestrider. And to wrap up the cosmetic stuff, there's some new Druid travel forms as well as some new Nightface soul shape options. And there's obviously a ton of bug fixes and things like that. If you want early access to the 9.2 raid guides when they're released, check out the Patreon link in the comments, like, subscribe, and join the Discord. Peace.